How's everyone doing today? I'm Cameron Meredith with ADU West Coast. Today in this video, we're going to cover California ADU laws for 2020. We have until 2025 for these new ADU laws, by the way, but I'm going to go through them. Specifically, we'll talk about Los Angeles, which has adopted those statewide laws for ADUs, which all cities have. But this is put together by Motive, which is a company that does ADUs. They had a great presentation on it, which I watched. So I wanted to share a video and kind of go through what I thought was important as far as covering some of the California ADU laws for 2020. So I'm going to start off and go through each one here. And if you guys have questions, feel free to comment below. But 10 things to know about ADUs in LA. And again, these are all going to apply to the new 2020 ADU laws. Number one, one ADU and one junior ADU may be built on any lot with an existing or planned single family home. So again, I think I've covered this in some of the previous videos. You're allowed to build an ADU as well as a junior ADU. And we're not going to go through the specifics of each. That's for another video. But you are allowed to build two separate units, okay? Number two, the single parking space requirement for the ADU is waived if the property is located within a half-mile public transit. Two parking spaces for the existing residents shall be maintained unless a garage or carport is demolished or converted to create an ADU. The space can be uncovered, tandem, and or within setbacks. So again, a lot of people are converting their garage. There is no requirement to replace the parking if you're converting garage space, okay? So that's very important. That's huge. No replacement parking. Number three, the total area for a detached ADU may not exceed 1,200 square feet. So 1,200 square feet is going to be the biggest ADU you can build from the ground up. We actually did one in Rosemead that we finished a little bit over a year ago, which was 2 stories. So that is the biggest that you could do. Number four, the total area for an ADU attached to a residence is capped at 50% of the size of the home. So this is important. If your main house, you can only build an ADU from the ground up 50% of the main house. So if your main house is 1,200 square feet, you're only allowed to build a 600 square foot ADU, if that makes sense, okay? Number five, take careful consideration and location of the overhead power lines. So 2-story ADUs often require greater rear setbacks to avoid the power lines. So that's something to look at is your utilities. In some of these other videos that I went over, I think I covered some of that. You definitely want to take in consideration where that power comes in and then how much space, as mentioned here, as far as setbacks are required to build, whether you're going up or building from the ground up in your backyard. Number six, utilities for the ADU may connect to the primary residence. If you choose, separate servers can be added. Most of the time when we build them, they always have a separate utility, at least power, and we always put a separate panel for power. And most people do because they rent them out, but that's important there. Number seven, ground up ADUs are required to have a 4 feet setback from the side and rear property lines. So you just need 4 feet from the back and the side for your neighbors. As far as the setback goes, it used to be 5 feet. Number eight, existing garages that are converted to or replaced by an ADU are not required to meet setback requirements. So this is huge if your garage is built on a 0 lot line that maybe on your neighbor, right on your neighbor's lot or whatnot, but you're not going to have to, rebuild that and, meet that 4 feet setback if you just convert that space. That's huge as well. 9, for multifamily zone properties, 2 detached ADUs can be built or can be added to the site, and portions of the existing structure can be converted into ADUs. So the real rule is 25% of the existing multifamily count. So if it's four units, you can do 1 out of existing space. If it's 8, you could do 2. And then if you have enough space to build from the ground up, you can build 2 extra ADU units, which which if you do have space is pretty awesome for multifamily, because you imagine doing having a 5 unit and then it becoming a 7 unit just from building out of the ground. So we're actually right now at this moment we have 3 multifamily projects going, and those are all converting garage spaces. So always check with the city to see what they'll allow. Check with the city planner, because here in Long Beach they were a lot more friendly than what we thought, and our clients are pretty thrilled on what they could do. Number 10, in the city of LA, ground up ADUs must either be 10 feet away or attached to any existing structures. So we need a 10 feet setback from the existing structure, if that makes sense. Here's kind of a depiction of that there, okay? In this, it's kind of a picture or infographic of what we just talked about. I'm not going to go through each one because, again, we went through all of that, but you can kind of see. And if you guys want this, I'll put it in the description below, so you can go through and have this at your hand. Again, it's from Motive, which is a very good company, and they put this together, which is great. So ADU ordinance in simple terms. Let's let this load a little bit. I don't know why it's not already loaded. Okay. So pretty much in 2017, change in ADU regulations originated with 2 pieces of state legislation, SB 1069 plus AB 2299. These bills were integrated to address a shortage of affordable housing in the state. Again, this is important to note because the whole reason why these bills are enacted is to provide more housing throughout the state of California. Okay, so state law prohibits local governments from adopting ordinances that preclude ADUs. All existing local ADU ordinances that do not comply with the 2020 rule changes are null and void. That's huge. So they have to follow these ADU laws. Again, we kind of went through and covered some of them specifically related to LA. I'm not going to go through a lot of these in detail. Here is one, what changed as far as the parking required. Again, parking is eliminated near transit. And again, if you convert existing space, you do not have to replace that parking if it's out of a garage that you're converting or a carport. Small size limits. The maximum size limit is increased to 1,200 square feet. Limit types, more flexibility allows different types of ADUs. And you can do junior ADUs, ground up ADUs, above garage conversions. And then utility fees are waived if connected to existing services. So before they used to charge pretty high fees. And then we'll go through here. Here's some of the ADUs that you could build that we talked, and I went through this in one of our other videos, which I'm not going to go through now, but it just kind of shows you what type of ADUs you can do here in California. Junior ADUs, this is, again, I'm not going to go through this in detail. Pretty much it's a junior ADU has to be within an existing structure of a house, and it has to be under 500 square feet. So that's what a junior ADU is, pretty much, to sum it up. And again, with the new law, you can build an ADU and a junior ADU. Here is some of the rules here. Again, 500 square feet max. It has to be under that. And again, I just kind of covered that. But if this is just kind of repetitive going through, I just wanted to go through some of the laws and just keep it at that and what's new. So I'm not going to go any further, but again, I'll put this down below so you can all go through it. It has more than what I just covered. As you can see, it's 50 pages. But if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to subscribe, and we'll also put our Instagram and Facebook, and then that way you guys can follow us for updates, and we'll put out another video here in the next week or so. Thanks for watching.